Hi everyone, welcome back to the irregular update from Vic and Carol. I know it's supposed to be about the RV10, but we got a few different things to talk about this time. I know our last few videos you saw were from Galesburg. We had a blast at Galesburg, and especially in the formation contest at the end, we tied for first place, so that was pretty exciting. And then, so one of the things I noticed on the way before Galesburg when I was getting our Stearman ready to go is one plug was not firing completely. It was actually on the number 7 cylinder. And I cleaned and gapped the plugs and everything, cleaned it, put it back together, and everything was working fine. But during those 27 hours to Galesburg and back, what I did notice is when you're doing an ignition check, you know how you go to the left mag and then the right mag, and you can listen, most of the time the drops are pretty even. And for those of us who have a multi-cylinder EGT gauge, you can actually watch the EGTs. When you flip from both ignitions to one or the other, all EGTs should rise because you're not getting complete combustion of the fuel-air mixture there inside the cylinders. Well, what I noticed on a number of cylinders is that the EGTs on a couple of cylinders weren't going down. They were going down, actually, instead of going up. They weren't going to zero, and I did notice that the RPMs were just a little more of a drop than they had been in the past. And I know I've written about this stuff before, about things insidiously kind of deteriorating, and we're just used to things working that way and not noticing it. If you were to just listen and watch the RPM gauge, it sounded good and it was okay on the drops, but I noticed that something wasn't right. So while we were there, I happened to actually disconnect the wires from the spark plugs where you have the little coils, springs that go inside each spark plug, and what we noticed, there's a lot of corrosion there. Still don't know why. Pete Jones was there, we talked about it, and in the end decided to replace this ignition harness. Now this has been no easy task. This required taking all of these off individually, actually all at once. You'll see pictures here. We'll provide some still pictures on this video. And then attaching a spark plug wire at this end and pulling it all the way back through to the mag one at a time. That required some WD-40 and lots of Dow 4 or Molly coat as it's now known. So that's taken almost a week and a half at a very slow pace, because the other reason we've been slowed down here is I had to have some neck surgery. So we had a couple of discs with some new spacers fused, some titanium spacers in place. So I got nothing done on the RV10. On the other side though, Carol did, and we're gonna go down to her workshop here in a bit, and she's gonna show you what she's got done with the seats. They're looking really good. So over the next few weeks now, I hope to get back on the RV10. What I've done here is taken almost a week and a half now. I started it before surgery for about a week, and it's taken about 5 days since surgery. I had to sit down for 4 or 5 days after surgery, according to the boss here. So anyway, I will detail this in a column in Sport Aviation to show all the detail that goes into replacing the ignition harness. A lot of thanks to Pete Jones for his help providing some of the specialized tools and parts. So in a little bit here, we're going to start it up. Hopefully I wired it all correctly. Speaking of writing for Sport Aviation, many of you probably know Kit Planes is no longer the Kit Planes that we knew. A lot of the editorial staff has left, the leadership team left. It's been a disarray here for a number of months. And quite candidly, right now, not certain where it's headed. I personally am not real keen on trying to compete with AI. I spend a lot of time writing my columns. They're based on experience, etc., kind of thing. So I'm just going to let that play out for a little bit, focus on Sport Aviation, as well as our YouTube channel here, and share things with you, whether it's on the RV10, pre-buys, DAR work, or some of the other things. I think we've got enough channels to share things with you without losing Kit Planes. So for those of you who've been reading my columns in Kit Planes, you know, I thank you. Perhaps we'll be back. We'll see how it plays out. But for now, we're just going to kind of hold off for a bit. Okay? So that being said, one of the other things I noticed here while we were doing the ignition wiring, you know, I'm always talking about paying attention. And, you know, sometimes you're the cobbler's children, right? Hoses. How many times have you heard me talk about hoses? So as I mentioned, this was quite detailed and very tedious to take all this ignition system off. And while I'm in here, especially on the back side, I noticed some of the data tags on the hoses were from 2012. So shame on me. Those are quite old. And so I also took the time to replace all of the hoses firewall forward on the Stearman here. That in itself was a lot of work. There's a lot of hoses. It's a constant speed setup, so we've got constant speed hoses. I also replaced all of the intercylinder hoses. They're nice and flexible now. It's amazing how these hoses get hard. I know you can read some of the stuff out there on hoses and say, I think you're a little bit conservative, and I might agree with you. You know, most of these have what's called a shelf life of 8 years or so, and then what's called the service life. And the service life for a lot of them says replace on condition. So what does on condition mean? To me, on condition means when the hoses get a little bit hard, brittle, they're not as flexible as they used to be, and they begin to weep. And I was noticing a lot of that, especially on the 27 hours in 1 week up there at Galesburg. And so I replaced all the intercylinder hoses, as I mentioned, and then all the oil, fuel lines, and primer lines as well. So hopefully we'll have no leaks. We're going to start it up here in a bit. Hopefully you can tell from my big smile, I just ran it about 4 times, and it fired right up as soon as I hit the ignitions on the initial start. And no hoses are leaking. Both ignitions are working wonderfully. It actually picked up about 120 RPMs at idle, so it's getting much better sparks now, not having to go through all those corroded connections. So pretty excited, and so now I just got to figure out time to go fly it. Carol says she heard 2 weeks from surgery. I heard a week to 10 days, so we'll meet in the middle somewhere. But anyway, I'm really excited at work. Thought we'd let you know. And we're going to take you downstairs to Carol's workshop so she can show you what she's been doing. I'm glad one of us is making progress on the 10. So here we are in Carol's den. As many of you know, Carol has done all of the interiors for all the now 13 aircraft we've built. And it's really neat seeing what she comes up with out of the sewing room. So many of you have asked, and we thought, well, you know what? We'll share what tricks she can, tell you how she does it. And here's Carol.
So first of all, I'm not an expert. Yeah, every time I do it, something doesn't work and I have to redo it.
Sounds like me in the airplane.
So the materials I'm using this time are sheepskin, because Vic likes sheepskin on the seat. It keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And I'm using what is comparable to an ultra leather for the side panels and the headliner.
What are the attributes of the ultra leather you like?
So the reason we used ultra leather on the first RV, or the last RV10, on the doors, because it is really lightweight, and we didn't want to we had used leather along the sides, and we didn't want to put leather on because those gas struts have to hold that door up. So that was where we first used the ultra leather. And then we also used it on the helicopter, but the ultra leather is 4-way stretch vinyl. And it makes it easy for covering pieces, but when you're actually sewing, it doesn't lay it kind of has little waves in it because it's got that extra stretchy stuff in there. And so we used it on the helicopter, and then after I got all done with it, I heard someone say, oh, we use 2-way stretch leather, ultra leather, on seats. So the company that I get these from, and this is an example of the side panel. This is the color of the seat, which is a 2-way stretch. And the company I get these from is called Douglas Interior Products. They sell very high quality stuff. It's fireproof and everything else, which you can get, like auto stores also have the fireproof stuff, because automotives have different regulations, but I think it's pretty comparable. And they do sell to the public. They are a bit pricey, but if you were comparing it to real leather, it probably wouldn't be that much different. Okay. This is the brand of these two are Columbia. There are not as many selections in the 2-way stretch as there are in the 4-way stretch, but the brand is Columbia, and it's Douglas Interior Products, and I'll put a link at the bottom of the comments. But I want you to know that when we send you to a link, it's got nothing to do with us. It's just a product that we've used. We use Aircraft Spruce all the time for other stuff just because they're right here, like a 12-minute airplane ride away. So we're not getting anything if you click on anything. It's just, this is what we use and why we use it. Okay, so to make a pattern for these, because no two seats are alike, this product is called Duraskrim. It's sold by Sailrite. And what you do is you take your cushion and you lay the Duraskrim on top and you pin it with your little straight pins. And then you trace around the edge. And this is the pattern of the bottom of this seat. And it's hard to know how much of a allowance to use. Most of the time it's like you don't use an allowance, you just kind of sew it 1/4 inch in. It depends on how tight you want it and how that works.
What kind of thread are you using?
I'm using Tex. I'm using nylon thread for the ultra leather, I believe. Sailrite has a really good chart on their website they have many more colors of ultra leather, the 4-way stretch. They sell the brand of ultra leather, and they have a chart. When you're looking at the ultra leather, they'll show you what kind of thread to use with it and what gauge to use. I'm using, I believe, 70 gauge nylon. Okay, and you use different needles for the sheepskin because it's a thicker material. And like I said, this is a zipper from a previous project that didn't work, so I use it as kind of my sample of how it goes together, because every time I do it I have to remind myself. I don't do them that often. But this is the zipper came out really well on this one. I wasn't real happy about the fit of the front, and I kind of redid it, but as Vic told me, it's not going to show. Because basically when you're looking in the airplane, what you're seeing is the top of the seat, not the bottom of the seat.
I think they look beautiful.
Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a trial and error, and many times I've had to redo stuff. So, but I'll tell you that when you're all done and it feels good to like do it yourself.
I love it when she comes up out of here with a smile on her face. I know she got something done. Looks like you got some other stuff to show us.
So this is the carpet that we use in the RV10. Now it's a heavy carpet. It's got a real thick backing. We used it in the helicopter and I absolutely love it. It just looks clean all the time. I wouldn't, obviously on the...
you redid the current RV10 with this too, right?
Yes. On the smaller RVs, you probably wouldn't use it because it is a heavy material. Weight-wise,
you sew this trim edge on it?
Yes, and this is a Sunbrella trim edge, and I sewed that on there with my Sailrite machine. And the Sunbrella, this edging I got from Sailrite. This carpet I got from Douglas Interior Products, like the vinyl. And Douglas Interior Products sells to corporate airplanes, and so they are... Normally they send the fire testing data. They didn't send it with the vinyl this time, but I think they sent it with the sheepskin last time. So they are approved for, certified airplanes.
Yep. It's all about safety. That's great. You got something else there.
Yes.
What's that red thing?
So, all right, this is this seat heater. Some people love them, some people don't.
I love them.
Vic loves it.
The older I get, it's so nice to turn that on for my back sometimes.
All right, so this one is from Flyboy Accessories. And what's special about it is it's very tall. It's 20.5 inches tall by 11.5 inches wide. I have not seen a seat heater that was this big anywhere else. And so what you do is it's underneath, obviously, and you just trim off this little bit of edge where it overlaps here, but most of it, and then it goes underneath here, and it goes off to the side. Where it connects to the electronics, and the electronics and everything come with it. It's red. Flyboy Accessories also sells a white one that is not waterproof. This one is waterproof. The reason I got this again is because we changed out the foam on our 15-year-old RV10 last year. And I pulled this off of that RV10, and I was able to reuse the exact same one on that airplane. And that was pretty exciting. So I thought, you know, for a little bit more, it makes sense to get one that's waterproof and it's going to last. And
how do you attach it to the foam?
So it does not have a sticky thing on it, but we use our 3M 90 spray. And what I did this time was just basically just spray around the edges about 1.5 inches all the way around. And then you spray the inside of the, under the seat cover in the same area. And then you just stick it on there and it stays. On the bottom, I don't even need to attach it because it just kind of stays in place. And on the bottom, you would just trim off a little bit more here at the top. And it still works if you trim it off.
They are trimmable. You just need to make certain how you trim them so you don't destroy the connection between the left and the right side. So that works out well. Great. So what's next?
Oh, one other thing on the seat heaters. We bring this cord out to the side, and I actually have my zipper end with the open end on the side that the cord is going to.
Yeah,
so I actually
right
make the zippers go opposite of each other depending on which person it is.
And in the RV10, we bring the heater connections out right next to the tunnel. So it's in the center of the aircraft. Neat. So what's next? You got the front seats done? I guess I better get busy out there.
Yeah, I was actually starting the back seats before you went to Galesburg, but I knew I bring the old seats down with me, the ones from the 10, so I can see how I did it, so I can kind of try and replicate it. So while he was gone, I was using the seats from the 10 to figure things out.
Oh, neat. Do you want to take a look at the machine you're using?
Sure. So this is a Sailrite fabricator. I've had it for a couple years, and I love it. It allows me to sew as slow as I want, and with the upholstery, it's a very big challenge to get it to go slow enough if you're not using a machine that's controllable. So when
how do you control it then? With your knee, your foot, or?
Yeah, the foot pedal. There's a little turn on switch. There's a switch under here that you turn your machine on, and you can set the speed. And then basically you can see how slow it goes. I'll show you. I mean, that's about as slow. I mean, that's like perfect for me.
I mean, the neat thing is it's a machine that not only is slow, but it's got the power to actually work at that speed.
Yes, and it went through that real thick carpet with like no questions asked. The nice thing about this machine is it has what's called a posi pin over here on this wheel. And if something gets stuck underneath, like your material is too thick and the needle gets bent or something and hits the bobbin case, this little posi pin, the end breaks off and you can't use the machine until you figured out what the problem is. And that allows you to avoid having to have it timed or tuned, I don't know what you call it, a sewing machine, because you messed it up by breaking something.
Have you broken that yet?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
3 times this week.
I'm glad you're not the only one that breaks things.
They're made to break.
Cool.
Okay, and I did want to make a comment about when you're using vinyl, you know, you can't put pins in it because the holes will show. So there's 2 ways to do this. You can use, this is seam tape, okay? And you put, you're doing your right sides together. You put this down and then you peel off the paper and you have if you can see, a clear tape piece there. And then you put it together like this and then you sew it. Now, this is the way I did it on the last one, but what happened was I kept getting that sticky stuff right along the edge, and it was bugging me because I could see it in the airplane. It was just like right there at the edge. So this time I did not use the tape at all, but I used these clip pins. I think that's what they're called, sewing clips. And instead of using that, you just put these at distances and it holds it together very nicely, and you don't need the tape.
Hold it so I can get a shot.
Oh, like this?
Okay. So you're happy with those? They're probably like Clecos. I bet you can't have too many.
No, and they break if you like step on them. Ask me how I know.
Well, there you have it from the master herself. Anyway, she does a great job with our interiors. Love it. So thanks for sharing.